I started a new job 7 weeks ago. I just finished my 7th week yesterday, which was Friday. And so I don't have a lot of hours at night to do very many things, unfortunately. I've got like 4 hours between the time I get home and the time I have to go to bed. So throughout the week, I think of video ideas that I want to do, and then I don't really have time a lot of times at night to make those videos, so I've got to make them all on the weekends. So I'm trying to do, 2-3 videos throughout the course of a weekend so that I can get some of these ideas out of my head and onto my YouTube channel. So here's video number 2 for the day. I was watching my last video and I looked through the whole video like someone had just kicked my dog or something. I don't know. I looked like I was not in a good mood, but I didn't feel like I was in a bad mood. My face sure looks like I was in a bad mood. So hopefully in this video, I can be a little bit more chipper. Although the subject of this video, funny enough, is one where unfortunately I have, let me rephrase that, where I am going to sort of open up about something that is true about myself that is not necessarily good or something that I should be proud of, but I want to put it out there because as is the case with many of my videos, if there are other people out there who feel the same way that I feel, who deal with some of the same things that I'm dealing with, and if you who are watching feel these same things, and it causes you to feel alone, or you feel like I can't talk about this, nobody would understand this, or nobody would be okay with this, then I want to relate to you so you can say, hey, I'm not alone. There is somebody else who feels the way I feel and deals with the same things that I deal with. Okay, so the topic of this video is fame, not friends. So I'm an ISFP. My lead function, my hero function, is introverted feeling. Now, introverted feeling as a lead function comes out a little differently in the ISFP than it does in the INFP. And, we all have different life experiences. So we come out on the other end, different to a little bit of a degree. So if you're an ISFP, maybe you can relate to what I'm about to say. If you're an INFP, you might be able to relate to this. I don't know. Or any other type, perhaps. But this is my situation. Throughout my life, I cannot really remember having many times or situations where I looked at a group of people and thought, oh my gosh, I want so badly to be accepted into that group. That was not a driving factor in my life. However, I can look back on my life and think of times, many times, when I thought, oh my gosh, I want those people over there to not necessarily like me, but value me or recognize my value. Now, let me explain what I'm talking about here, okay? And it really comes down to some significant differences between introverted feeling and extroverted feeling, all right? Extroverted feeling is much more concerned with being a part of the group. With lead introverted feeling, I'm not saying I never want to be a part of the group. I'm not saying I never want to have camaraderie, but I would never want to have camaraderie and fellowship with a group at the cost of my individuality. Now, throughout my life, I have looked at myself and often thought, and this is, it's embarrassing a little bit to say, I guess, but I want to lay it out there and be honest. I've often looked at myself and thought, well, I'm pretty amazing. And that came out in many different forms. But whenever I went into a task, I usually went into it with the idea of, I'm going to nail this. I'm going to knock this out of the park. And these people who will benefit from what I'm going to do are fortunate that they've got me here to do it, because I'm going to be pretty darn amazing at it. And it would be much better for them to have me doing this thing. Okay. And oftentimes I even looked at other people and thought, they don't really knock it out of the park quite to the degree that I do. Now, I haven't particularly dealt in my life with a big issue of bragging. I know, and again, take this as my admission of guilt about having an aspect of myself that is maybe not terribly desirable, okay? I don't need to brag. I don't need to go around saying to everyone, look at me and look how great I am at this, whatever it is that I'm doing, right? Because I know that I am. I know that I'm going to do that fantastically. I know that I'm going to do it great. So when and by the way, I'm going to be honest and say, I don't always do it great. I know that I don't always do it perfectly. I know that I'm not always the best. I know that I'm not always like the most amazing person ever. This is the realization that I'm coming to. This is why I'm saying this, because over the years, I have realized that I'm not always the best. And yet still, even to this day at 43 years old, which I just turned 43 last weekend, at 43 years old, I still I don't even want to say I struggle with this, because I don't struggle with it. I embrace it. I still go through life kind of thinking that, I'm all that in a bag of chips. So what happens is I go into every situation, right? Or whatever it is that I'm going to do. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be amazing at this. I'm going to do this great. I'm going to be so good at this. And really what I'm saying is I can see that my uniqueness or my contribution is of great value. I don't need the group to say to me, you're so valuable, for me to believe that I'm valuable. I already believe I'm valuable. In fact, I already know I'm valuable. Okay. And again, yes, I'm talking as two people here. I'm talking as the person that I tend to operate as when I'm just cruising through life, which is that I know I'm valuable. And then I'm talking as the person who's making this video, admitting these things to be true about myself, even though I know that I should check that. It's not really even pride. I don't know what to say it is. Check that sort of, ridiculous self-evaluation at the door, I guess, and be like, okay, are you really that valuable? Because the reality is that there are plenty of people out there who can do whatever it is that I do in any given situation. There are plenty of people out there who are just like me. There are plenty of people out there who can do things better than I can, much less as good as I can. But I go through life with this mindset largely that, everybody's so going to benefit so greatly from having me here to do this thing because I'm just so amazing, or I'm just so wonderful, or I'm just so good at it, okay? And then what happens is, whereas some people, I'm coming back around to a point I was trying to make a moment ago before I cut myself off. Anyway, a lot of people, they need, they don't necessarily know if they're valuable. I think extroverted feeling to a degree goes through life saying, am I valuable? I need people to tell me that I'm valuable. And so when the group says, hey, you matter, you're valuable, that means a lot to them. I don't need the group to tell me I'm valuable, right? Like I'm living life going, yes, I'm valuable. But what I want and what I couldn't make sense of until actually this week, and I'm going to explain what happened, is I want the group to recognize the value that I already know or believe that I offer. So I have really been struggling over the last, maybe couple of years, honestly, if I'm really being honest with myself, but especially over the last few months, with this reality that I can honestly say I don't have a deep desire to be a part of certain groups or many groups or sometimes any group. Like I don't look at that group of people over there and go, oh, if only they would accept me in their group. And yet at the same time, I do have this desire for people to say, hey, wow, that was amazing. Hey, what you did there is great. Or say, wow, you're so great, or whatever, okay? And so as I've been like mulling this over, like what does this mean? How do I put these two seemingly contradictory items together? Because for me, the two could not be separated. If I wanted people to tell me that I'm great, then I must want them to be my friends. I must want to be a part of their group, right? But I didn't really want to be a part of the group. I just wanted them to look at me and go, wow, you're so amazing. Okay. Which again, that's pathetic really when I hear myself saying it. I mean, the scriptures say that we do not live for the praises of men. And yet I'm just laying my heart on the line here and saying, yeah, you know what? I do sometimes. Sometimes I do live for the praises of men. But it's not because I want them to be my friends. It's not because I want to be accepted in their group. And it's not because I need other people to tell me that I'm valuable so that I can believe that I'm valuable. I already believe I'm valuable. I just want people to recognize it. And I want people to say, look at you. I'm so lucky to have you around. Which, as I voice that, I will admit, it's kind of pathetic sounding, honestly. But it's the truth. It's a truth that has been true of me for really as long as I can remember, and I'm only figuring it out right now. So one of the reasons that I'm figuring it out is because Dave and Shannon on Objective Personality have talked at times about how IPs, and I think especially ISFPs, have this sort of popularity talk. I mean, maybe it's more SFPs. Have this sort of popularity talk. There's this sort of need for popularity in a way. And I thought to myself, I don't have that. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't have that need for popularity. But I was defining popularity as being a part of some group and being, heralded as the leader of the group or an important person within the group. I didn't care if I was an important person within anybody's group. That didn't really matter to me. So I was watching them talk about this guy named Bo Burnham, who I'd never heard of, this week. And because of various conversations that took place in those videos, I realized what I've said so far. I don't need to be a part of a group. I'm not sitting around craving friendships or groups of friends. Although, honestly, perhaps I should care more about those things, because having friendships and groups of friends, that can be very valuable, and it can be a beneficial experience to both the group and the individual within the group, because the individual benefits from the group and the group benefits from the individual, right? We can't go through life alone. But while I didn't feel this need for deep friendships or having lots of friends or being the popular guy in the crowd, I've never really felt any great need for that. I still had this need for people to recognize the value that I believed I offered. If I did something really well, I wanted people to say, wow, you did that really well. Now, the reason that I wanted that was not so much because I needed that. Like, I didn't need it to know that I did it well. I already knew I did it well. I just wanted everyone else to see it and recognize it. Now, I said in one of my previous videos, when I was kind of talking about what is the driving force of the ISFP, I talked about, I'm driven by making my little corner of the world more beautiful, and I don't necessarily need anybody to know that I'm the one who did it or to come tell me, wow, thank you so much. And I think that is often true, but I have to be honest. I have to go back and edit that concept. I'm not going to go back and edit the video, but I'm editing the concept. Sometimes it's not true. Sometimes I do want people to tell me, wow, look what you did. You're so amazing. Okay? Now, that's kind of childish. That is going through life desiring the praises of men. I hold that I offer a great value to this world and to others. Maybe I do not judge myself soberly. Maybe I think better of myself than I ought to. But I go through life thinking I'm offering great value. And I don't care if I gain friends because of it, but I want to gain fame. Not fame like I'm going to be on TV or anything like that, but fame like in the sense of people telling me, thank you so much, you're so amazing, what would we have done without you? And I realize, interestingly enough also, that I do get told that a lot. And the fact that I get told that a lot tells me that I must be working really hard for it. I probably wouldn't be told that a lot if it didn't matter so much. I've worked at places where multiple people said, if you left this place would fall apart. Well, guess what? I left them and they didn't fall apart. But I sure liked hearing that. I've interacted with people and had them say, wow, you know, the way that you did that is just so amazing. I can remember years ago, I don't even know what all I had revealed to this guy that I worked with, that I like my hobbies or my interests or the things that I was good at or whatever. But I was sitting there one time and I was drawing a truck, and he looked at it and he goes, man, you draw too? Like, you can do it all. You're so amazing, right? That's kind of what he was communicating. And I loved it. Now, I could play it off with humility, right? Like, oh, it's no big deal. But that's not the truth. The truth is, I liked hearing that. I liked hearing other people recognize what I already believed to be the great value that I added to their lives. Now, where does FI and FE, where do they split? How are they different? Well, they're different in many ways, but one of the ways that they're different is that FI tends to see its own value. And then, at least in my case, you can let me know if you agree, and then wants other people to recognize that and say, we see your value too. Whereas FE largely does not see its own value. If you have friends with high extroverted feeling is their first function especially, recognize the possibility that they may not realize their own value. They may see themselves as not having much to offer to the world. And they need you to give them positive feedback so that they know they are valuable. There are people in this world who need to be told, hey, you matter, you're valuable, we care about you, because they literally do not value themselves, or they're not able to see their own value. That's one swing of the pendulum, right? The pendulum swings in that direction. And then it swings back in my direction, and I'm over here going, I can see that I am of great value, and everybody else just needs to recognize it, right? These are pendulum swings. They're both wrong. I am not all that in a bag of chips, but I know the fact that people say that I am means I must be trying to convince people that I am, which means probably sometimes I'm being downright deceptive in my attempts to get people to praise me, which is wrong. But on the flip side of that, if you go back and if the pendulum swings back in the other direction and you're like, I am of no value, I have no worth, that's wrong too. The truth is in the middle. We're all of very great value, equal value. And with everything that's going on in our country and in our world today, that we need to be reminded of that regardless of who you are or what you can do or what you can't do or any of that kind of stuff, you are of great value. You were put here for a reason, and the world needs you to be what you were put here to be. Don't let people convince you that you're worthless, and don't convince yourself that you're so great that everyone else is just so unbelievably lucky to have you around, because neither of those things is true, really. The truth is somewhere in the middle, as is so often the case. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this useful. If you did, please give it a like. Please do subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourself an awesome day, and be awesome at all that you do. Bye now.